Hello Exile, Altec2k here, and this is my guide to the Lake of Kalandra League mechanics. This guide will be broken down into two sections. The first is the minigame, or the tablet, and the second is the actual run itself. Let's get to it. Okay, section 1, the tablet. This section of the League mechanic is probably the most important and should not be overlooked. After all, it determines your maximum possible reward. The general gist of the tablet is that you want to move away from the entrance as far as possible, as each step you get away from the entrance increases the difficulty and the reward. And if we take a better look into the tablet, you'll see there's 4 major components. This tile is the entrance tile. Everything counts up from here with regards to difficulty. This is a water tile. You can't do anything directly with it, however you can move it for another tile, depending on whether you get the roll or not. This is an empty tile, and all of these must be filled before you can actually run the encounter. And this is a tile with a reflection on it. This is actually what you're going to run when you enter this section of the island. Tablets come in 4 sizes, and the size is determined based on the level of the area in which you find the first tablet. During the campaign, the tablet is 3x3. This gives you a maximum reward chain of up to 6. In white maps, it's 4x4, giving you a total maximum chain of 10. In yellow maps, you get a 4x5, which gives you up to 12. And in red maps, you get a 5x5. This will give you a maximum potential of 16. It should be noted that the difficulty level of these encounters ramps incredibly high with the distance from the entrance. Up until now, my character, which is still running on a 4 link, is able to run up to tier 11s. Once I get to tier 12, the content pretty much one-shots me. And not all tiles are made equally. There are really 4 types of tiles. There's your normal tile, which is weird monsters, and these come in lightning, chaos, physical, that you can choose from. And then we have League reflection tiles. This is a tile set which has past League mechanics on it. These are incredibly profitable, but also really difficult, especially some of them. Essences are almost impossible once you get to like tier 8. I'm not joking. It took me over 8 minutes to kill a monster. And bear in mind, just before I ran this, my character defeated the Black Star thing in under 4 minutes. It's massively overtuned, and with regards to breaches, they produce so many monsters now it's really hard to kill them all before you're just swamped. So how does the chaining work? As you move away from the entrance, the difficulty steps up by 1 for each tile away that you are. Now bear in mind it's the shortest possible number of tiles to the entrance. We also have Kalandra reflections. These tend to have some hard bosses in them which are like map bosses but juiced up to hell. You'll know you're in a Kalandra area because Kalandra will be there sat on a rock until you defeat the area. Once you defeat this area, Kalandra will fly away, leaving behind a shrine. Click on this shrine to create a pair of mirrored jewellery items. We'll go over this in a little more detail in the second part of the guide. The final set of trials are utility trials, and these will allow you to move tiles around on the tablet. The utility tiles I've found thus far have allowed me to move both the entrance and a reflected tile to an empty tile. There's also one that allows you to swap the position of an empty tile and a water tile. And the last one I came across allows you to swap 2 reflected tiles, allowing you to put your essences earlier on instead of them taking 8 minutes to kill. These tiles are absolutely essential if you're going for the max difficulty encounters. So where do you find these tablets, and how do you add these tiles? Well, in each area of Path of Exile, you'll now get an altar that raises out of the ground, which allows you to interact with it. This will either give you 1 set of tiles to choose from, or 2 sets of tiles. You can see which one you got from the choices remaining title at the top. Each set will offer 3 possible tiles. Underneath these tiles, you've got 3 small buttons, which give you up to 3 goes each to do various things. This first button here allows you to skip the reflections. This is very useful as you're getting to the end of the number of choices you've got left to complete your tablet, as this is normally the time you want to move yourselves around to get the largest possible reward chains. The second button allows you to reroll the tiles you're about to choose from, giving you a completely new set. The last one is Exile a Reflection. This basically takes your selected tile and removes it from the choices, until you get a new tablet. This is probably the best one to use to make sure you get the best possible rewards, because it allows you to block the more common tiles, so you get the more rare ones instead. I tend to use this to block the sort of tier 1 versions of the elemental skills. It should be noted that this won't stop you getting the tier 2 or tier 3 variants. As I mentioned, you can get 3 shots of each of these little buttons, but you won't get that at the start of the game. They unlock as you progress through the Lake of Kalandra. If you hover over the button, it will tell you what you need to do to get the next one. In most cases, this is complete X encounter at a level of X or higher. Once you've completed all the empty tiles, if you're in the campaign, a portal will open there and then for you to enter, and if you're in maps, a little button will appear to itemise it to turn it into a map. It should be noted that whilst this works in the map device, it is not classed as a map, and so it can't be chiselled, and you can't make it rare. Okay, section 2, or actually running the encounters. To run it, simply take your itemised encounter and put it in the map device and click go. This will give you the usual 6 portals. When we first enter the lake, you'll enter a really small area. As you move out of this area, you'll start to see the rest of the island lift out of the lake. This looks absolutely amazing. It can be quite disorienting in here, and so there's a little button in the bottom right hand corner which will indicate which of the tiles you're actually on, and therefore which direction you need to go next. As these reward chains can get quite long, the actual map themselves can be very long and windy. I strongly suggest that before you run a hard encounter, you drop a portal before you enter, so you don't have to do an extremely long walk of shame. It does take ages to get back to where you were. How you get rewards in each tile depends upon the type of tile you're running. If you're running a standard monster tile, after you clear the area, in the centre of that area, a chest will raise out of the water. This can be really annoying because you often have to backtrack to get your reward. The types of rewards that these chests offer are basically the standard that you would get in any league, such as divination cards, currency, pieces of armour, all that good stuff. For the league specific rewards, these will drop from the monsters themselves. The actual rewards you're going to get will be themed around the specific league that you're running. For instance, in Expedition, the bosses drop the reroll currency. If you're lucky enough to get a Kalandra reflection, then Kalandra will be in the area. Once you finish it, she'll fly away, leaving behind the reflecting mist. When you activate the reflecting mist, it will give you 2 jewellery items. These items can be particularly powerful because they give you up to double the mods that a normal item would get. Of course, with Path of Exile, there's also a big drawback to having such powerful items, and that is that some of those could be highly negative. Now, the other jewellery item it gives you is the inverse of this one, so anything that had a negative roll on the first ring would be positive on the other one and vice versa. The idea here being that you pick the ring that gives you the biggest positives, where all the negatives it gives you can be easily countered on your build or doesn't matter to your build. For instance, negative crit chance with Resolute Technique. Now, there is a second version of this mist which is extremely rare, and this allows you to put your own item in, which it will then double the modifiers and make some of them very negative. I haven't found one of these yet, but these could make some weird and wonderful items. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Lake of Kalandra has terrible rewards. What are my thoughts on this? If we were in last league, I'd actually think that Lake of Kalandra gives some really good rewards, because I've had 2 exalts from it already. Unfortunately, in this league, exalts are worth bugger all. It's also given me a fair amount of chaos, which is more than I get from maps. That said, it does seem to be very hit and miss, because some chests I open actually drop nothing at all. This is extraordinarily disappointing, especially as some of the encounters are really difficult. In a recent post, GGG did commit to increasing the rewards from the lakes, so we'll have to see how that plays out. You now know everything I do about the Lake of Kalandra league mechanic. I hope you found this useful. If you have, then please tickle that like button, it'll like it a lot. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.